Good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to the Public Opinion Court in collaboration with Real Life Street Stars. And of course, you already know we are reporting each and every day on the Freaky Rico trial of the century, Mr. Diddy, P. Diddy, Love, Baby Oil Love, as we are winding down on day 25 of the trial. Now, let me go ahead and give y'all a disclaimer. It was, a day of a juror being tampered with, the freaking defense being yelled at inadvertently, and of course, the government had to be a part of the thrashing as well. What else happened? They went
Baby.
Girl, they went over text messages again. So it really didn't, it was so we're going to go over some really key evidence, testimony, elements, counts, in order for y'all to just refresh your memory on what has happened in the last 25 days as the government is winding down on their case in chief. Then we're going to go into we're going to do the hot topics last, because the hot topics is just boiling over with the biggest movie mogul in African American history, Tyler Perry. A lawsuit has been filed. Guess who? By who? Somebody don't look like us. So the attention is going to grab faster because they don't look like us. But we're going to go over it and see what you all think at the end. But before we get into it, let me introduce a face that y'all are familiar with. Well, I'm going to let her introduce herself because y'all already know who she is, what she do, what she about. Y'all loved her the last time. So let's get back into it.
What's up, everybody? It is a thankful Tuesday. I am thankful to be back at the Public Opinion Court. I am Tiffany M. Simmons, and if you know me, or if you're nasty, call me the Plugs lawyer. No, I own a law business in Atlanta, Georgia. We do business, criminal defense, entertainment, and personal injury. I am also a legal trial analyst, so I appreciate the opportunity to be here as we analyze this current trial.
Yes. And listen, y'all, go ahead and as you're coming in, make sure you are liking and subscribing to Real Life Street Stars,
Yes.
as well as the Public Opinion Court. So make sure that you all are engaging, get ready to ask questions. Let's see how y'all feel about what is actually going on today. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into the ditty of it all because it's day 25. Let's see
Day
if I
25 of the Freaky Rico trial. I
century.
don't know why I laugh every time you say the Freaky Rico trial.
It's the Freaky Rico trial. The Freaky Rico trial. So listen, y'all. Y'all know yesterday I told y'all Diddy Freaky Rico is on his neck. And what I mean by that, as in what the government strategically has done, the government has strategically placed this portion of the case at the end to where the summary witness is reminding them of key evidence that they need them to pay attention to regarding the counts that they have charged him with. So just imagine the government is on their last couple of days. They may have to go into Monday because how the defense keep holding on to this summary witness as if they're going to change a narrative that's already out there with teeny bopper nepotism, Garagos. But
now you already know I like to break it down for the people. let's say what the summary witness does. The summary witness, for those that don't know, that is like the last witness that's going to summarize the key points that the prosecution or the defense would want you to remember as a juror. So this person is supposed to be the person that's going to tie the story totally together as according to what the prosecution is saying happened.
Yes, but before we get into going completely into that, we're going to talk about a hot topic that happened in court today, where the judge had to get on both sides regarding some leaked information that should not have been leaked, but was leaked, and now it's a problem. So I want y'all to tell me in the chat, once we go over this particular information, who do you think leaked this information? Do you think the government, or do you think the defense? So after we finish going over this particular hot topic, which is very short, I want y'all to tell me, who do y'all think is the leaker, the defense or the government? So this is what happened. The leak of sensitive juror information from a sealed courtroom meeting, which means that nobody else was in the courtroom. When the judge seals the courtroom and removes everybody, he's only leaving the defense, the government, himself, and a court reporter, and maybe a security, a bailiff or something that is stationed inside of the courtroom. Everybody else is removed, because this is information only the parties should be privy to, depending on the sensitivity and nature. And this was a particularly sensitive matter, because what has been alleged, something we still should not know, that juror number 7 received allegedly, because I can't confirm it because it has not been confirmed by the court, allegedly received a text message from someone to their phone. I don't know the gender of juror number 7. I'm just saying juror number 7. It can be a woman or a man. But this individual received a text message that they wasn't supposed to receive as a juror in this case. Luckily, this person, juror number 7, has integrity and reported it to the court, brought it to the court's attention as they're supposed to, and the judge had a sealed meeting with both parties. I'm going to remind y'all that the judge also early on, when this case was starting for trial, warned Mark Garagos against some of his reporting, because the way that he was reporting information would, could, and will taint the jury pool or the jurors or anyone that is attached to the proceedings of this matter. The judge was very clear with Mark Garagos to shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up or get locked the fuck up. And I thought Mark heard him, but I don't think he heard him loud and clear.
So, now, let me say something as it pertains to what this means for the jury pool. What this means is that it could be a cause for mistrial. And if there is a mistrial, that could affect both parties. What this means, like you said, it taints the jury pool. So this incident could affect this case in so many ways in the people involved. So number one, you're right. The juror was a person of integrity, because that juror could have not said anything and continued on. And later on, this case could have been appealed due to this incident with this juror. So that's some of the trial strategy, or what happens in trials that the average person wouldn't necessarily know or understand. Why does that matter? It does matter, people.
So what the judge essentially did to both sides, because of course the government know that they're not the ones out here trying to leak out information, because why would they? Because that means that they would have to retry this case completely over.
Yep.
And they may not get the same witnesses that they had before. So, because sometimes you only get one shot at the apple, and they understood that. So, what the judge said, I'm confiscating y'all devices because I'm getting to the bottom of this. And I promise you, you don't want me to get to the bottom. So, someone will, if the results yield a result to determine who, what, when, where, how, and why, will lead to contempt in court. And let me tell you why this was really suspicious on the defense side, because when the judge in particularly asked Agnifilio about the article, he started stuttering. He started stuttering like a cheating ass husband. He started stuttering like he owed you $500 and he out at the club buying bottles and he can't explain why they ain't get your $500 back. And that is very problematic. And it was problematic to the judge because as reported on yesterday, juror number 6 was removed because this individual could not be consistent in his responses. So all I want to say is, this is my opinion.
Well, we at the public opinion court. Tell us.
This man right here. I believe this man right here on your screens has a tendency and a track record of playing with this case in the public opinion court. It's not by surprise that this judge was very clear with this individual, who also is the daddy of one of the worst defense attorneys on Diddy's team.
Don't say she the worst.
She is the worst. She is the worst. She getting her ass kicked every single day. She has not won. She up there wasting fucking time today. She almost caused them to lose the trial with the shit that she did by opening the door. Thank God a black man stood up that was on the legal team and saved the day like we always do. We always got to come to the defense of the others because they get up in there and they use their skin color and think that it's talent. It's not talent. It's not.
Well, Diddy ain't called Simmons Law because you know if the plug's lawyer was in there, them witnesses would have been every way but loose with me.
And listen, not to mention, this man right here has a very close relationship with TMZ.
And that's what I was gonna say. In my experience with another person on Diddy's legal team that is well known, I've never heard his name attached to this type of, strategy. And I'm saying strategy in air quotes because clearly they thought this could have been a legal strategy. I've never heard his name attached to stuff like this. So the person you have on the screen may be the likely suspect, but I'm a criminal defense attorney, so I'm gonna say, allegedly.
Well, listen, allegedly, this man knew his daughter was up in there stinking up the damn courtroom, so he had to pull out whatever magic he could pull out, and it was only to go into his nepotism briefcase and decide that he was gonna call into his nepotism friends and say, hey, my daughter up in here stinking up the courtroom. I know I paid all this money for her education and she is supposed to be the heir to the throne, but I got to come in and save the throne because she up here messing up the throne. Because one, she really ain't supposed to be there, because when we make it to a level of success, our children shouldn't have to lift a finger, but she having to lift too much in this case. This case is too heavy for her to carry.
Well, they thought they had strategy by adding a woman to the team, but they may have added the wrong woman to the team.
The wrong nepotism woman. Because I ain't gonna hold you. I have friends that are of the other race, and they are amazing at what they do. But when I see the nepotism, and these are the ones that actually worked hard and then use daddy's money or daddy's influence, which is not a problem. It's only a problem when it becomes a part of the African American race, that it becomes a problem when we utilize, resources and things to get our children ahead. Right. But she did not belong on this case. He knew she did not belong on this case. He knew he could not come in and save her on this case. And the only way he could do that is go to the public opinion court, because guess what? That's where he's trying to win this case. But you're going to lose it because, one, you're not going to get a mistrial, because with this kind of judge, he don't play. He not playing. So Garagos, you may as well go and tell the truth, something that you're probably not used to doing. Something you're not used to doing. Because if you play on this case and this man's $400 million fortune is at stake, baby, you will have to see these hands. You will have to see these hands. And I ain't talking about the praying ones.
And I want to bring up something, because we are mentioning, nepotism. We have mentioned race, in our conversations. The thing about it is, like you said, the race thing is, people get mad about race when we talk about it and talk about how sometimes it's used to people benefit in these situations. But like you said, if a person is paying this much for a legal defense, I wouldn't even put my child up there if I knew they weren't prepared to properly defend the client. Mm-hmm. She probably could have sat at the table and just sat there, but I wouldn't even put my child up there if I knew they weren't prepared to really defend the client that's spending all this money because maybe he's thinking white is right.
They always do.
I know. I had to just throw that out there.
They always do. I cannot tell you how many clients who have come to me on the business side, and when I give them the strategy and I make it fucking happen, after they didn't stress me the fuck out.
Yes.
And after I didn't had to cuss them the fuck out, because you're playing with a real life beast. My strategy don't start from the end. It starts from the beginning before you fucked up.
Yep.
So that's what they don't understand. Like, when you looked at how what is it, Westmoreland? What is the other African American guy that is on the legal team? Because he's the one that saved Garagos when she went and opened that fucking door regarding allowing the admission of all those text messages from
Jane Doe and Diddy.
What is his name? Can somebody in the chat tell me what is the African American defense attorney?
Yes, somebody help us out. And while you're doing that, send this live to a friend, whether you are on TikTok, Instagram, or whether you are on the YouTube live. Shouts out to Real Life Street Stars. Shouts out to Public Opinion Court. And if y'all want to, send us some love, you see our names up there. We are more than influencers. We are giving you real life legal strategy. We are giving you real life legal opinion analysis on what's going on in this particular trial. And another comment that I wanted to comment on. Someone said, oh, Black women are being used to tear our men down. Any case that I am brought on a show to analyze, I'm going to analyze it. It wasn't people saying that I was tearing people down when I was talking about murderers that were of different races. I wasn't tearing nobody down when I was doing that. I was doing my job as a legal analyst. So we just want to shout out the people that give us the commentary, the comments. Some of them we love to comment on. Some of them we got to check it at the door because y'all just don't know.
Check it at the door. So listen, y'all. Like I said, Gary, I put in the chat who you think it was. Do you think the leaker of the closed session in the court was either Diddy's team or the government? Who do you think leaked juror number 7's closed, sealed information? Put it in the chat.
Okay.
What's up, Real Rap Show? How are you doing? Welcome to the Public Opinion Court. Listen, don't be shy. Real Rap Show. Listen, we do like to invite people up. So if you got some questions, you know you are more than welcome to, join the conversation.
Yes,
So
yes. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us because that's what we're here for. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the audience does say. Do they think that it was Diddy's team, or do they think that it was the government that leaked that information?
Listen, y'all, and don't be shy. Do not be shy. Yes, leak because it can potentially cause a mistrial. It can, based off of a juror being compromised. Would it if they have alternates? No. No, I just filmed outside the Diddy trial. You did? Spill some tea for us. Spill some tea if you got what
they said. Is it attorney Xavier Donaldson is the other attorney? That's what some of the comments say.
Oh, I don't see that.
No, because it's on my thing. Xavier Donaldson. So that might be the attorney you were referring to earlier.
So okay. Real Rap Show. Listen, put them in the chat. We will answer for you because I've been covering it. I've been covering this Diddy situation since the Cassie lawsuit. We will answer for you because I've been dropped. What's your YouTube? I'm gonna have to come to your YouTube page. Donaldson is definitely is another. Oh, Real Rap Show. Let me tell you something. So I'm supposed to come to New York for closing statements. Closing arguments as well as jury watch. So we need to link. We definitely need to link.
Okay, Real Rap Show.
I need to get your information or you get my information. And we can definitely link up when I get there. I'm coming with some other lawyers that hold on. One of my lawyer friends is already there. So, but we'll talk. I'm going to get back to the show. But yeah, so y'all, today we are just going to go over what I talked about yesterday and what has been done so far on this trial, because the way that Attorney Simmons broke down what a summary witness do and what their role is in the particular trial is to refresh your memory, refresh and bring you back. So let me just go over what I talked to you all about yesterday. And the reason why I talked about this yesterday is because of the summary witness, as well as knowing exactly why they were summing up these particular witnesses with these text messages and putting it all together. So the RICO aspect of it all, and I'm just going to give y'all a disclaimer. I don't feel strongly about them going after him so hard on the RICO. I'm I get the sex trafficking and the transportation. I'm just not in agreement with taking someone's fortune away that they worked hard for, regardless of how, they can't prove that all of the fortune is illegal. So therefore, I do not agree that a freaking RICO should be a freaking RICO.
Well, I want to speak on the RICO thing because I definitely spoke to the community in the state of Georgia about how the RICO Act is used very broadly on the state level. Now, of course, we know this is a federal case. Most federal trials end in in where the person is convicted. But shout out to Irv Gotti. He beat his federal
Yeah.
trial, so it's not impossible to beat your federal trial. But in the case of what's going on with Diddy, I definitely don't feel like the RICO is all the way there. However, prosecution, feds, whatever, they will use a RICO charge because it's broad enough to either A, get enough people to convict this person, B, like you said, financially bankrupt a person or take all of their belongings that they've worked for, etc. And number three, to not only break them down
Mm-hmm.
mentally and emotionally. A
Yeah.
trial is a lot, let alone being the attorney that's representing someone that's facing these sorts of charges.
Yeah.
So, like a lot of people in the public opinion court and on the other pages, they talking about free Diddy, why is he here, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel indifferent about it, because the way the government presented it in the beginning, as it was just this massive string of violent, egregious, just deadly thing that happened. And that's what you link RICO to, because of the inception of the history of what RICO was created for. If you notice, RICO is a penal code is never really created for the ones who didn't do shit but enslave people. If you notice, these penal codes or jails are created to contain the minorities of the world, like regardless of where you're from. So it's not rocket science that RICO was created to contain the Italians, because the Italians was coming over and they
And
were
doing too much,
doing
as
too
they say.
much,
Girl,
creating
trust me.
villages, growing, and not needing the government to do anything for them. Because guess what? The Italian culture is about family. It's about sticking together. It's about not telling or snitching on each other. So guess what? The government created this so that people would snitch on each other. So that's why I feel different as this case is coming to an end on the basis of RICO, because it is a way to bankrupt him. This is a financial punishment to him, because you only got two of multiple victims to come and have a relevant ability to testify. That says a lot to me. Why, out of two victims, do I have to agree that he should be found guilty of RICO? Two.
Now, like we said the other day, and like Judge Mathis said, if this was a domestic violence case, then of course he could have been convicted of domestic violence. If this was, some sort of other felony, he could have possibly been convicted. But the trafficking, out of the 18 witnesses that we've seen thus far, it definitely appears that, you know, they thought this out of we're going to charge him with RICO because not only can we expose this criminality, we can bankrupt him financially.
Yep. So before, just to go over briefly of what we talked about yesterday on the live, the government, what they believe, they have demonstrated that individuals were co-conspirators or witnesses who testified from the March 24th Diddy home search. What they're saying essentially is that they acted in coordination to protect Diddy's brand and fulfill his personal desires. And we know what those personal desires are. The prosecution so far has presented evidence that employees, associates, and facilitators acted together, which they have to show a pattern. They have to show that these people acted in coordination to fulfill the objective of protecting his brand as well as fulfilling his personal desire, or to it, which will ultimately advance and conceal the enterprise. The one thing that they touched on is how they got this information to connect. And the one way that they got this information to connect is through the electronic devices. That's why lawyers say anything you say, post, send, receive, call, voice note, anything can and will be used against you. If you don't want it used against you, don't send it and don't say it, and then put a disclaimer, don't record me. If you give that disclaimer, you are literally taking their lawful right in some states out of their hands and returning that power to you. When you tell a person, if you record me, don't record me, I'm not giving you permission. So that wasn't used here, but that's just an example of how you have to protect yourself in the day and age that we are in. Baby, because people don't care. They're gonna pull that device out and they'll be like, oh, all right, Johnny. Yeah, Johnny, what you had said? You heard Johnny. Yeah, Johnny.
I tell clients all the time, don't get prosecuted for what you post. Do not get prosecuted for what you text. I remember one of my older colleagues who I used to share an office with. He told me one day, he said, Tiffany, I don't send text messages. That's a transcript. And it essentially is, especially in the defense world. Once your phone is taken from you by the authorities, everything in your phone, whether you think you deleted it or not, if they want to get to it, they will get to it. You know, for this racketeering case, he had the RICO charge. He has the sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, 2 counts of that, and also transportation for purposes of prostitution, and 2 counts of that. So going back to what we said earlier, this is definitely a overreaching charge to get him on something. Yeah. You know, if we look at this as compared to the YSL RICO trial, which one of the things that I brought up as a defense attorney, I said, well, if Young Thug is running a criminal enterprise, why isn't the record labels in here? Because they have funded this criminal enterprise. They've paid him large checks. So even as we look at this case of Sean Combs, a lot of the 18 witnesses were given immunity. So who else is supposedly going down with this so-called RICO charge that needed at least 2 conspirators for this to happen? Because Sean Combs could not violate a RICO act by himself.
Oh, baby, they have they officially named KK as a co-conspirator.
Okay.
Rightfully so, because that bitch. And that's one of my issues that I had with her yesterday was I felt like she was doing the Karen thing with holding on to all of these devices as insurance. And guess what? That insurance expired on your ass too, KK. That insurance policy that you thought you needed, you ain't need that insurance policy. You needed to get off your ass and go find a job that has integrity, that you are not out here facilitating crimes, but you are using this as an insurance policy because you was getting paid at a higher rate, because you were saying, oh, you remember this? I need $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what?
I think the people that were complicit in this, they definitely did things to cover their butt. They definitely did things to, just in case something happens.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, to give you a brief overview of what the RICO requirements are, which you only need two. The government has standards that they have to meet. So, one, of course, is bribery, kidnapping. They have not transportation or prostitution, but forced labor, arson. They have extortion, witness tampering. So when you look at that list, then you have to compare it to, okay, which witnesses give me these categories that I must meet, not only for RICO, but to establish the racketeering, because the racketeering is going to come in with the associates, the co-conspirators, the individuals that were complicit to furthering the objective of protecting their boss, as well as whatever they were trying to accomplish for that particular boss. So I took it a step further to create this breakdown for y'all. And I know Tamika asked, so paying for drugs and the escorts with the company's fund, that's not RICO. No, we're not saying that it's not RICO. What we're essentially saying is we don't feel that it was necessary for them to go the RICO route. Yes, they have this mountain of evidence, but when you look at it from a broader lens, we are essentially saying you are trying to take this man's fortune away over he didn't kill anyone. You only got two victims out of the
18 so far.
Yet, like, it's so many civil suits. Y'all couldn't even bring them in to testify. So you want me to buy into a permanent removal of this man's fortune? No, not gonna do it. That's essentially what we're saying. So when you look at the type of witnesses, I went and associated the crimes that they testified on behalf of the government for. So we remember Edie Garcia. That is the hotel security guard or worker at the time who Diddy bribed to destroy the tape. And that ended up in him getting $30,000, his manager 50,000, another individual 20,000. And the NDA was also used as a way to, one, control this particular witness to keep him from saying anything.
Then hold on. Speaking of NDAs, let me share a couple things with the audience. You can sign an NDA, but if the NDA is basically concealing criminal activity, that NDA is invalid. So for those in the chat that don't know how NDAs work and think that NDAs are all powerful and can do anything, just know that even though you may sign an NDA in a work setting or a dating setting, whatever it is, that NDA is not protecting criminal activity. And that's by law.
Period.
It
So
doesn't matter how many pages it is, because Sean Combs' NDA, it was a few pages and people were scared for their life. Somebody mentioned that Diddy commingled funds and that was sloppy.
Well, commingling funds doesn't necessarily mean it's sloppy. What it essentially means is you have to have an accountant that can go in. Let's say that you use one of your business cards to purchase something for another business. That means that your accountant has to go in and first of all, identify that charge is belonging to this business. Then they have to take the money from the business that borrowed, because that's essentially what it is, borrowed from the business that used their funds to make the purchase, and replace it. So it's not necessarily a commingling um, or it's really not commingling when I think about it, because they're all separate accounts. Now, commingling purchases that belongs to another business for another business purpose, okay, I can see that. But in theory, it's not commingling.
Okay. Well, another point I would like to bring up that I shared probably the last time I was on here is we would not even be talking about Sean Combs had not Sean Combs bit the apple of power, because that's essentially what it is. We're probably going to segue a little later to some hot topics of today, and it is in the similar vein of when a Black man becomes ultra successful, multi-millionaire, billionaire status, what happens in the fall of what they're doing. And what I mean by Sean Combs biting the apple is, what if he became Sean Diddy, Love, Puffy, whatever, and he had not beat up his girlfriend, he had not coerced people, he had not abused the very power that he built off of the community that loved him back? What if he had not abused that power? We wouldn't be here right now. So that is my call to powerful men that may watch Real Life Street Stars, that may watch Public Opinion Court, that may watch Hood Court, The Plugs Lawyer, whatever. Think about that. If you are a man in a position of power, just because they doing it and letting you do it too, don't think that they won't put you on the chopping block first. So why even set yourself up for it? Why?
So listen, y'all.
Look, dropping the mic on that.
Listen. Listen, Linda.
And listen, Linda.
Y'all better take a screenshot of this chart, because this is what y'all need to be refreshing your memory on when you are having thoughts of, oh, if did this happen, what does this person go to? I literally have given you the chart. From Eddie Garcia to the Punisher is identifying which count they are associated with and what count the government used them for. You have Kid Cudi, Brenden Paul, who is testifying finally tomorrow. He got sworn in today, and he accepted his immunity.
And for those that don't know, Brenden Paul was the white boy drug mule of Diddy.
And we have a breakdown of the responding officer who identified Diddy's license plate being at Kid Cudi's home. You have the forensic detective who was not allowed to say that the fingerprints that were in the custody, care, and control of the department somehow disappeared within 6 months of being in a possession. You had Dr. Don Hughes, who was the expert. I still kind of feel like they needed two different experts. I wish they would have had an expert that actually talked to the victims in itself instead of the blind expert. But she basically provided the reinforcement to show the which is the burden of proof of the sex trafficking and the racketeering. You had Derek Ferguson, the money guy for Bad Boy until 2012, and then he went over to Revolt until 2018. And surprisingly, Diddy called him on September 16th, 2024, asking to meet up with him. Sure did. But the meeting didn't happen, and we know why. We know why the meeting didn't happen. We have Cassie's mother, extortion, bribery. We have Capricorn Clark, kidnapping, arson, sex trafficking, forced labor. Now, she wasn't sex trafficked, but she has personal knowledge of the sex trafficking. You had George Kaplan, another assistant, drug trafficking, forced labor. He was also a part of the era that was setting up the freak offs and knowing, putting the baby oils in the room and cleaning up the baby oils. Derek James, which was another assistant, the early on assistant, drug trafficking. There was psychological abuse, forced labor. Remember, he was the one that was forced to take a lie detector test twice because some jury had came up missing. You had Mia. I'm not even going to go into Mia because y'all already know what Mia testified to. And there's a list. Take that screenshot.
Witness tampering, freak offs, extortion, sexual assault. Someone in the chat asked about the indictment. I know the times that I've been on the public opinion court, we have shared the actual indictment or, parts of it, but feel free to research it. Y'all in the chat, feel free to Google is your friend, chat GTP or something like that, and look it up for yourselves.
Yeah, or go to the public opinion court. I have the YouTube channel. I have the actual U.S. attorney who went over the entire indictment on video. It's recorded. You can actually see the visual or the video version of it on the Public Opinion Court's YouTube channel.
So go back to the Public Opinion Court. Make sure you subscribe and check that video out if you want to learn more about the beginning of the Diddy case.
Yes. So we had Deontay Harris. That was Cassie's best friend. We had Cassie's other best friend, BB, the one who was dangled over the balcony. Then we had Jane Doe. We already know about her testimony. We had, her mom was at the top. We had Don Richards and the recent assistant who testified this past Friday, along with the early on sex worker. I think it was Jules, if I'm not mistaken, that testified early on. So listen. Oh, and the security, the original security guard who intervened during the Intercontinental, the one that took the screen. Yeah, the one who took the video and showed it to his wife and also sold it to CNN for however much money.
And so to me, a lot of the people that were around, unfortunately, they were all for money grabs too. And I'm not saying the alleged victims were all money grabs, but again, the people that saw the wrongdoings, but they kept it in their pocket for a rainy day, or they sold it to CNN, etc. Who was going to do the right thing in this situation and not sell it and just stand up for what's right?
That is a question. And the real rap show, it was Capricorn who he made take the lie detector test. Yes, he made Capricorn. He made Capricorn take the lie detector test 5 times. He made and it was for jury. Derek James' situation was also for jury, but he only made him take the lie detector twice. And the difference between Derek and Capricorn is Capricorn was kidnapped in the inception of the lie detector test and was forced to be under their care, custody, and control for to a certain extent while taking the lie detector test 5 days, and they thought it was going to yield the same results, and it didn't. So I just wanted to merely break down each witness, the importance of each witness that was attached to the government's counts, so that y'all can see in real time what the reality has been so far, so that y'all can make your own determination of how do y'all think that the government has done so far, because they're coming to the close of their case in chief, and then it's going to be defense that is going to take this on. But people are visual learners, and I ain't gonna hold you, I'm a visual learner too. Listen, this stuff right here without a chart, my brain, my ADHD would have been like this, been swimming up there like, girl, give me a life jacket. You know I can't swim. So that's the reason why I put this chart together. And that's what we do as legal practitioners. We already know people want to, if we want you to drink the water, we got to give you the water to drink. And this how you give somebody the water to drink. You be like,
and
oh,
sometimes we got to give you, look, just a little sip of the water so you can understand. And sometimes we'll give you a big cup. It just depends. But that is why I'm just thankful that we have this ability to be on this platform, breaking it down for people to understand and not just talking about the salacious details of it. Yes, there are plenty of YouTubers, streamers, etc., talking about this trial, but you'll never get two beautiful, intelligent women that are actually have experience from each side of the courtroom, telling you what it is, telling you what it ain't. Because, baby, some of this, it ain't it. But we are not the ones that are trying the case or defending the case, because if I was defending, this might have been over before it even made it to the courtroom.
listen, Linda.
Because, baby, my time is valuable, and I would not be in a courtroom wasting time playing games. I'm in it to win it.
Listen, Linda. So, y'all, listen, we have come to the portion of the show where we talk about hot topics. We actually reversed it because this hot topic is a little more lengthier, and it's going to take more than just, it's going to be in 2 parts, because of course we don't want to hold y'all too long, and not to mention we have other obligations, but we're going to give y'all
just a little tea. Just a little tea. Look, get your cups ready, baby.
But we're going to refresh our memory a little bit. We're going to refresh our memory and recall y'all to this very, very viral video that came out a month, not even a month after Cassie filed her massive lawsuit. So we were literally like coming down from the publicity of the shakedown and takedown of Diddy, only for this individual to get on social media and come out without fucking coming out, pissing me off because he had us on a fucking wild goose chase.
Trying to figure out who it is.
I'ma reveal it. I'ma reveal it. He sat on that damn screen and lied in our fucking face just to play in our face. He pissed me off because one thing about a victim, he played in so many SA victims' face, and he garnered so much attention and support, only for you to take your grown ass back to where you came from because you probably got a settlement.
Probably. And you know, it's nothing wrong with getting a settlement, a financial settlement from situations like that. But you know, this is real life street stars, this public opinion court. So we only gonna tell the real. And I will say, as a person who has experienced a situation like that, I don't give a damn how much money I would have got from it if I was to receive money from what happened to me. It'll still never erase that is something that, as a survivor, you can literally think about that every day. So money will never replace that. And I just want to put that out there. We are sending love and well wishes to those that are survivors of that situation. So as we talk about this, definitely know that we're not taking it lightly, but I'm also going to speak from my experience as a criminal defense attorney as well. So I just kind of want to share that with the people, because oftentimes they think,
I know you on here,
our lives are the best, but we have to let them know that we're real life people too.
Absolutely.
So yes, let's see this video of Christian Keys right
now. And I have proof.
Because
It's
where
not like
there's
I'm just
smoke,
making false
it's
accusations.
fire.
I intentionally let the statute of limitations expire. It's not about money,
but he took that money though.
I'm gonna have to take the receipts, the recordings down to the police department and let them hear this individual. I wasn't working for him in the month and the year that he showed up to my apartment and offered me $100 grand to take my clothes off. He said, I don't even need to touch you. I just want to see you naked. I declined. Because again, scenic route, I got my integrity with me. I'll take the long way around. But being that I wasn't working with him and we were in my apartment, he had visited my apartment to offer me a job of this fall because the lead of this particular project was going to do something else, so he needed another lead. I recorded it because I didn't trust him, and I told him, and he still always tried shit, just tried shit. So if people don't believe me, they can hear him in his voice. My concern is that this person is still doing it, still a predator, and that's not okay. And I wish I was brave enough to speak up back then. I was worried that he would get in the way and try to interfere with my work and try to blackball me because he couldn't ball me. Pun intended. It's going to be a conversation had real soon. The beauty of non-disclosure agreements is that even if you do sign them, you can't speak about certain things, but confidentiality agreements don't, after speaking with several attorneys, they do not prohibit you. They can't prevent you from going to police departments and reporting sexual harassment and giving them your receipts, giving them your recordings, giving them your people. But you are not allowed to touch somebody without their permission. Not allowed to try to touch them in a sexual or private place without their permission. And if they've already declared, like, hey, bruh, I get that that's your thing, but I like black women and Hennessy. And so miss me with the bullshit, because I'm never going to be open to that. I'm never going to swing at that pitch. Like, I'm batting for this team over here. God made ovaries and fallopian tubes and vagina, labia majora, labia minora, uterus. It's just wonderful over here. So I'm going to stay over here, like, chill. And then this person still tries to grab you, physically grab you. Cassie speaking out has reminded me about, not just me, because it was brutal going through it, because it lasted for years, but her speaking out People need to know. And the funny thing is, predators like that, they resent the prey that got away. They resent the prey that got away. The prey that didn't fold. The prey that didn't acquiesce and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take this L and sacrifice my morals for this opportunity. Nah. That was around the time that I was considering going back to Michigan, 08, 09, because work was slow and the work that was coming was offered with a side of penis. And yeah, that don't do nothing for me. I'm back for y'all team. So, at some point soon, I've spoken with my attorney trying to figure out how to deal with it. It's never been about money. I literally intentionally let the statute of limitations pass. It's not about money or being able to sue. But at some point, really soon, the police report is going to be filed, and I'll turn over the recordings of the inappropriate behaviors and the inappropriate offers, and I'll turn over the paperwork for the car that was bought as an apology for offering me $100,000 to take my clothes off. And y'all can hear him. His voice is very distinctive. And I want to empty. I'm tired of carrying this shit. There's a reason now why I fight more than ever when somebody wrongs me, and why I almost too aggressively speak up is because I wasn't brave enough to then. And I regret not being able to be strong enough, and I resent that part of me that wasn't strong enough to speak up about it.
Baby, if he was gonna settle, he could have just took the $100K for taking his clothes off.
Listen,
I'm just saying.
Here's one of my biggest issues. Because like I said, this is just the tip of what we're going to go into more details, because listen, we got the lawsuit right here. We got all 46 pages that we're going to go down a rabbit hole with y'all on.
Oh wow.
And
when someone said that they think that this latest with Tyler Perry's is a stretch, someone else is saying this is interesting. It might be jealousy, seeing Tyler Perry on the boat with another man. So a lot of people have different views of this, but I definitely feel like this latest allegations is getting more traction, a lot of traction, because it is now a white male that is accusing him of SA.
Well, here's the thing. We had the opportunity, if this was the individual, for a Black man to come and speak up and out about it when they decided to do such a grand video proposal to the public. So that's if that is the individual. If it's not, then it does not apply to Christian Keys. One thing that individual said that stuck very, very stuck out is that they was in a position now to prevent it from happening. They didn't want it to happen to anyone else. You didn't want it to happen to anyone else, but you went back into your closet and held on to the secret identity of an individual who may still be victimizing other men.
Yeah.
Excuse
me?
Can
you really respect this person coming out or expressing this if they're not really willing to truly stop it from happening to other people?
Because going back in your closet, and if you took a settlement, does not help others. You are continuing the cycle that whether you know it or not, when God puts you in a position, he don't put you in a position to get in retreat. He puts you in a position to call it out, because when a person of power continues to disrespect God in his face, and they continue to get blessed over and exceedingly and abundantly, you never know that God is putting you in a position to remove this individual the right way. So I'm not saying that is attached to it, but here, listen. It has very stark indications and similarities to this individual whose name is Derek Dixon.
Yep,
He's a
Derek
former actor.
Dixon is
Yeah, he's a former actor on The Oval. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, he just touched your thigh. You do not get to grade someone's experience when it comes to SA. And you also have to understand SA is, even in civil, is hard to prove, but even with it being a preponderance of the evidence, it's still a hard thing to prove and show up to, even in civil. So I hope this is not the reality of who they are alleging Tyler Perry is in this complaint, which we are going to go over in detail tomorrow. And I'm gonna need y'all to be ready.
Yes. So tell a friend to tell a friend to come back tomorrow.
We coming to give y'all everything related to this petition, because it's over 46 pages. So listen, Tyler Perry has a lot of movies and shows on Netflix. More money, more money. Yes. However, y'all, I still have an issue with Christian Keys and how he went about doing what he did without calling a fucking spade a spade. I see what Cassie did. He used Cassie. He name dropped Cassie. And I'm like, y'all are not the same. You are not on Cassie's level, because Cassie, through the shame, through the public humiliation, through the suicidal thoughts, through not wanting to be here, to feeling hopeless, she still, with her brilliant attorneys, was brave enough to call it out. So that's my little 1-2 and my little energy that it needs to deserve, because I didn't got triggered because the way Christian Keys played in our face. When, real SA victims like myself, we don't play that shit. If you're gonna call it out, call it out. If you're going to use the propaganda to protect victims, protect them.
Right.
And not your pocketbooks, if that is the reality.
Right. Because he never did reveal the alleged person. And all it did was cause confusion and delusion in the community. Not only the film community, but the community that looks up to these people. And, I'm going to always talk about God because I love God. I love God. I don't know about y'all, but God ain't in confusion. So what Christian Keys may have started off as a space of, wanting to do the right thing, it didn't turn into that at all. If you are coming out about something, speaking truth to power, you are going to come out succinct. You're going to say what it is. You're going to say what it ain't. And that's going to be that. It ain't going to be no, let me throw this rock, but I ain't going to, I ain't going to say I did it. And that's what has happened in that. Now, this new allegations, from what I've understood, he definitely is not throwing rocks and hiding his hand. And I definitely look forward to the breakdown tomorrow, because that tea is hot. Kane, my dog, even came over here because he wanted to hear that tea.
Listen, I'm ready for tomorrow already because one, Brenden Paul is flipping like the ghost that he is. And then we got this Tyler Perry breakdown because we're gonna get all of the gossipers are going to talk about, but we're going to talk about the legal tone and language and what this possibly could mean for Tyler Perry, as well as what I said about anything you send, receive, post, email, voice note, can and will be used against you. If there's a digital footprint,
it can be found. And that's why I made the statement earlier. If you make it to a Tyler Perry level, a Sean Puffy Combs level, whoever, a Elon Musk level, a Trump level, does that mean that you have to bite the apple because everybody else did? Does that mean that you have to bite the apple because Eve did? Does that mean that you have to bite the apple? No. And so even in the case of TP, if you allegedly like males, it's not that hard for you to get males. Why would you have to coerce?
They busting the pussy wide open, just like a woman is busting the vagina. They busting the pussy wide open. You can go and get you some pussy on the side of the road or on the back page or
not on the side of the road
or on Instagram or on OnlyFans. Go on those sites and get it where they are willing.
Because putting your actors who are supposedly living their dream in those sort of situations is just wrong. It's abuse of power.
Listen, baby, we can go all night, but hey.
Well, we ain't going all night tonight.
We can go all night
tomorrow. So like we said, tell your friends to come back tomorrow. Tell your friends, if y'all like some of this tea, you could tip my girl, you could tip me, because we got cash apps too. Just because we pretty lawyers don't mean that we don't like lunch and breakfast and dinner and all of the things. So we look forward to seeing y'all. I appreciate coming on here. Again, the Diddy trial, TP. I mean, we breaking down all of what's breaking down in the law.
Listen, y'all. We enjoyed y'all tonight, but we're going to enjoy y'all tomorrow. We're going to need y'all to be live and vocal in the comment section tomorrow. We're going to need y'all to turn up like you ain't never turned up before.
Yeah, because tell them, sis, I ain't coming back unless they turn up. I ain't coming back. Make them numbers run.
Listen, tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure you are following our social media handles. I already know where you can follow me, Lawyer Bay ESQ on IG and Fanbase, which I'm getting ready to go to the Fanbase audio room as we speak, or my TikTok and my YouTube channel, The Public Opinion Court, where you need to be subscribing and following. Because let me tell you, when I go to New York to do live reporting, y'all better be up and ready, because I'm not going out there with this one leg, honey. Because I tore my ACL. I'm not going out there with this one leg without y'all being live in the comment section. So make sure y'all are liking and subscribing, and get ready for tomorrow. Go do your stretches, do whatever you got to do. Take your shower, put your bunny on, because baby, we gonna get into it. We need y'all in the comments,
Yes. And let me say this. Happy belated Father's Day to all of the daddies. Mm-hmm. And if you a cute daddy, hit me up. But I had to shout out the Father's Day. And I know it passed, but we want to show love to our men out there.
Listen. Y'all have a wonderful evening, and I will see y'all tomorrow. And y'all remember what they're saying at the Public Opinion Court, where the truth ain't reality, but opinions are. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Thanks for having me, sis.
Okay, see you tomorrow.